Well, sounds good. I'll do two things. First, I want to thank Misty for hosting me in this group. What a great leader you are to put this together. I think it's a fantastic way to mingle and network. And Wendy, thank you for inviting me. I'm honored and thrilled to serve as Wendy's writing and publishing coach to get her book done. And so I'm honored to be here today. It's a last minute thing, and it just worked out that I was open. So I'd like to maybe share just a couple things about myself, and then I want to leave you guys some value today. And so I put together 6 steps to grow your business on a limited budget. And so we'll talk about those 6 strategies because basically about myself, born and raised in Michigan, graduated from the University of Montana, moved to Seattle, Washington, was there 21 years, raised my family. I've got 2 boys that are 29 and 26. And then about 7 years ago, I moved to Maui, Hawaii. My entire life, I've been kind of an underdog, an entrepreneurship advocate, a small business ownership advocate, and I coach and teach that we want the same things. We want more time, more money, more freedom, more health, more love, more happiness in life. Raise your hands if you want some of that. More time, more money, more freedom, more health, more love, more happiness in life. And the challenge that we're all faced with, regardless of our lives, is that we are taught as a young child that the way that you get that is through the corporate route. And yet we have to ask ourselves every day, are we creating someone else's retirement or are we creating our own? And I also firmly believe that when you find something that you love to do, you'll never work another day of your life. And so I quit my job about 16, 17, 18 years ago, and I've been full-time in this entrepreneurial space ever since, and I haven't worked a day in 16 or 17 years. So people ask me, how do I do it? And the first thing I want to share with you is my first book is titled Creating Your Own Destiny, How to Get Exactly What You Want Out of Life and Work. And I've been very blessed. We've sold upwards of 1 million copies of that book in 5 languages in 108 countries over the last 20 years. And in that book, I talk about this concept that we either become the captain of our ship or we become like a leaf in a windstorm being blown to an unknown location where we have no control over our lives. And I'm a firm believer that I want to be the creator of my destiny. I want to be the captain of my ship. And all of you are obviously gone down that same path since you're entrepreneurs. So to me, I define destiny as fate. And I've defined fate as the supposed force that predetermines all the events which occur in your lifetime. So my question to you is, what do you suppose those supposed forces are in your life? And I want you to know it's not your bank account. It's not your relationships. It's not your education. It's not your, training growing up. The supposed force that controls your entire destiny is your mind. And you've heard it before. Henry Ford said it best, whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right. So the process of creating your own destiny is when your mind believes your goals to be true, it stimulates your senses to attract you to the people, the places, and the circumstances necessary to convert your mental images into a physical reality. And that attraction process is what the law of attraction is all about. And you've heard this before, but you are the sum of the 5 people that you hang out with the most. So if you hang out with a bunch of homeless people, a bunch of drug addicts and alcoholics, you're going to be living in a van down by the river just like them. But if you hang out with billionaires and millionaires through the law of association, eventually you will achieve your financial goals. And we've heard this from Robert Kiyosaki, that your net worth is determined by the size of your net work. So our challenge is that first we need to decide what type of business we want to build. And I firmly believe that we need to soul search for our innermost marketable passions and then determine which of our passions are the most marketable. And then you transform that most marketable passion into a business. And then you spend the rest of your life doing 4 things. You love, you serve, you heal, and inspire. And at the end of the day, if you are not happy with your level of income, then you need to look yourself squarely in the mirror, because you are only the person to blame. because income is not based on hard work. Income is not based on effort. Your personal income is solely based on the value that you bring to the world. So if you're not happy with your income, you need to up the amount of value that you bring to the world. And so what I want to share with you are 6 strategies in which you can increase your value, increase your revenue, increase your business by 6 marketing strategies that you can build with with a limited budget. Because I don't know about you, how many of you are like me and you have a limited budget to grow your business? Anybody else have a limited budget? So strategy number 1, we are taught that we need to market and sell and market and sell and market and sell. And we've heard that before. And I love the fact that Misty's a sales training. I love sales trainers. When you learn to sell, you will become an unstoppable force of power, fully capable of achieving your destiny. And if you don't stand up and shout out to the world and tell the world who you are, what you stand for, what you believe in, nobody else is going to do it for you. And I believe that that's what selling and marketing is all about. But what I want you to focus on is, instead of selling and marketing, I want you to focus on serving and connecting. And when you replace selling and marketing with serving and connecting, a whole nother level will open up for you. Number 2, what I want you to know is every one of your prospects, they have dramas and traumas in their life. Pains, challenges, family issues, relationship issues, children issues, health concerns. And when you understand that every person is fighting an internal battle to get through whatever their obstacles and adversities are, and you can unlace your shoes, step into their shoes, and walk a mile in their shoes and be compassionate, empathetic, and be a good listener, then as Zig Ziglar said it best, he said, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And so that's my challenge to you, is walk a mile in your prospect's shoes, show them how much you care, and you'll bring on a whole lot more business that way. And that's not manipulation. That's just being a good person all around. Number 3, there's all kinds of strategies about, networking and cold calling and following up. And Misty can share with you all of those because I love that stuff. But one of my favorite prospecting tools says this, that we need to spend 50% of our working hours on prospecting. Because unfortunately, I don't know about you guys, but I'm the janitor of my business, and I'm also the vice president of sales. I'm the president, the accounts receivable, the accounts payable. And we can get stuck all day long doing administrative things here, administrative things there, emails and texts and follow-up, and all of these things that are not revenue-producing activities. So I want you to write that quote down, that phrase. I want you to spend 50% of your working hours doing revenue-producing activities. And when you do that, the whole sky will open up for you in terms of your future success. Number 4, Fortune magazine reports that 96% of all sales professionals give up on their prospect after just 3 bits of communication. But the problem is, according to Napoleon Hill in the book, The Law of Success, he says that on average, it takes 7 bits of communication between buyer and seller for sale to transpire. So why then do we give up after 3? Now, I don't want you to call and email your prospect every single day for 7 days. They'll think you're crazy. But what I do want you to do is I want you to text or call or email your prospect once every 7 to 10 days to just drip on them, drip on them, drip on them. And that's not being obnoxious. That's being respectful. That's showing your passion. And like Misty said, it's about follow-up. And that's what she is teaching you as well. Okay, finally, number 5, that friends buy from friends and people buy from those they like. So instead of going out there and trying to sell a bunch of people a bunch of products and services, what I want you to do is go out there and make a lot of friends. So here's the most important mathematical formula that you're ever going to learn. It comes down to developing relationships. And write this down. It's trust plus respect plus need plus asking equals the sale. So the formula is T plus R plus N plus A equals the $sign. And I want you to circle the A, because you must ASK to GET. And if you don't ask, you won't get. And finally, the sixth step to grow your business on a limited budget is to write and publish your book and use that book as a platform. Here's a copy of my book, Boy Entrepreneur. But you write and publish your book to use it as a platform to stand on, to attract more speaking, more coaching, more consulting, more clientele. And then you physically give away the book as an attraction magnet, a physical website, a lead generation tool, a thick business card. Because chances are your competitors have not written and published a book. And writing and publishing a book is the #2 most respected career in North America today. So my name is Patrick Snow. I'm honored and thrilled to share these 10 minutes with you. And I know that I'm about 30 seconds over. So if you have time for Q&A, I would love to do that. But other than that, I want to thank Misty and thank Mary for having me on.
That was amazing.
That was amazing.
So
Loved it.
Talk about
Loved it.
speed. So I reckon I have written down in the last 8 years, I've written down over 18,000 elevator pitches, and I have written down notes to over 2,000-3,000 10-minute speeches. I've never had to write so fast, Patrick. Thank you so much.
I think he's done that before.
I'm like, holy crap. That's amazing. Yes, I think he's done that before too, but it was so perfect. Put you in a room with Rita, Joyanne, and I reckon we have quite a competition going in regards to. So Rita teaches how to use speaking as your sales tool. And yeah, between you and her, wow. Okay, so who's got questions for Patrick? Bonnie.
Yeah, hi Patrick. So I was just wondering, what was it, the catalyst for you writing a book? Where did you come up with this
I was
idea?
the captain of my varsity football team growing up, and that was not soccer, but American football. And I gave the pregame speeches to all of our games. We had a pretty lousy team because we didn't win a game my entire senior year. And so I loved speaking. I took one speech class in high school. I took one speech class in college, graduated, moved to Seattle. I got in corporate sales, and I started moonlighting in the speaking business. And I failed 300 times to get paid. I got free breakfast and free lunch and free dinner and free pens and free food and free parking and free coffee mugs. And finally, being a Christian, I had to come to Jesus talking. It's like, what am I doing wrong here? Why can't I make it in this business? And the answer that I got back from the universe changed my life. And I want you to write this quote down. I heard this quote, and it said, if you want what others have, you must do what others have done, and you will get what others have gotten. If you want what others have, you must do what others have done, and you will get what others have gotten. So I looked at all my mentors all over the world that were making big money from stage as a professional keynote speaker, and every single one of them had successfully written and published a book. And so, yes, I'm an international best-selling author, but I'm not a best writing author. I was not a very good student for English or writing or rhetoric. And so I had to write and publish a book to finally get paid as a professional speaker. So that was the impetus behind doing that.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Patrick. I actually have a line from what you said at the beginning and then just there too. I have a line from the Bible too. It's find a way to serve the many, for service to many leads to greatness. And that has been my line that I head towards for so long, right? And because you know what, it worked for Jesus. He found a way to serve many people. It turns out he's the biggest name across the world. Has been for thousands of years, you know, find a way to serve the many because it all works.
Amazing. And I heard this quote the other day, and this is a professional sports team coach in the United States with regards to prayer. And he asked this question, Nick Saban, his question was, how do you pray? Do you pray to God to be blessed with health and wellness and abundance? Or do you pray to God to have the strength and the courage to be a blessing for others? And I think for so many years, I've been guilty of praying, please God, please God, please God, help me. And yet what you've just described is, I think, our soul level mission and goal, and that is to have the strength to be a blessing for others.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Anyone else got a question for Patrick? All right, come on. Somebody ask the one burning question. How much does it cost to write a book? It's all we want to know. How much does it cost to write a book?
How much does it cost to write a book? I spent 5 years and $20,000 US writing and publishing my book. My clients are now getting published in 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months, and they're spending about $10,000 US, which I don't know the currency conversion, but I'm thinking that's probably 12 to 14,000 Australian. Does that sound about right?
About that.
Yeah, I looked it up. It's actually a lot better now. It was 50, but now it's 30 cents to the dollar. Yeah, it's much
better. But the point of it is, if you go out and you land 4 $5,000 speaking engagements, you just made 20 grand. If you go out and find 4 $5,000 coaching clients, you just made 20 grand. And so the return on investment is immense, and it was the best investment I've ever made in my life. And I probably put most of my book on my credit card in my early 20s because I didn't have the money. So yeah, about 3 to 6 to 9 months and about 10 grand US, about 14 grand Australian. So I would just say, instead of throwing money away on direct mail or throwing money away on other strategies to market, consider consolidating some of those outgoing expenses to a book, and great things can happen.
The truth is learning costs money. If you want to be a doctor, you'll go to uni, you'll spend like 70 grand. If you want to, life coaching, diploma in life coaching is about 25 grand these days, 15 to 25 grand. So if you want to learn to be something, in the end, it's going to cost you for training anyway. So it just depends on which training you're going to filter yourself into. So thank you, Patrick. That's excellent. Ina, you had a question for Patrick.
Yeah, so do you publish your book through a publisher or do you self-publish?
I've gone both routes. What I found is the traditional New York publishers are run by a bunch of kids, and they have no idea what they're doing. They're mostly 21, 20, 22, 23 years old, and they've never written a book, and they may not have ever read a book their entire life. So I actually went the self-publishing route for the first 10 years. And then I did a 2-book deal with John Wiley and Sons in New York, where they bought out both my rights and my books, and they've done absolutely nothing with them. So from a coaching standpoint, I guess there's some credential and credibility by having the #1 publisher in the world as your business publisher. But from an economic standpoint, they've done absolutely nothing for me. And getting back to Misty's comment, I think it was Thomas Edison who said this. He said, the single greatest investment that you can make is to empty your wallet into your head. And when you empty your wallet into your head, you will never be poor again. So yeah, I teach both the New York publishing route and the self-publishing route. So we have an imprint. This is a self-published book, and we do mostly hardcover, some soft covers. But if you see right here, there's a Aviva Publishing New York logo. So this is a self-published book, but I have a New York imprint or logo on the book, because it's just a better branding statement. And so that's how we do it. We own 100% of the rights, and we keep all the profits.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Andrew, you're up.
Yeah, Patrick, good job on that. Now, I've been picking up what you've been putting down, so that's great. If we want to follow you, is there some way that we can do that, Patrick?
You know what I'll do? I'll go to Facebook right now, and I'll delete 10 people that I don't know. And you can send me a friend request on Facebook. And I've got a Facebook business page as well, but I don't look at it that much. But the best way to stay in touch is just to add me as a friend on Facebook. And like I said, if you give me like just 10 minutes after this call, I'll delete or unfriend 10, 12, 15 people. And then that way we can connect. And I've been to Sydney, been all over Australia, all over New Zealand. And so I love Australia, and Wendy and some of these people are trying to convince me to get on a plane and fly down to Canberra. And so I wouldn't be surprised in the next year or two that may happen.
How did Joanne find you?
How did Joanne find me? You talked about referrals.
Yeah.
And remember this, if you don't ASK, you won't GET. So as a professional keynote speaker, every single time I get on stage, I always finish my speech with a hallmark story. And to succeed in the professional speaking business, you need to be humorous, plus entertaining, plus inspirational. And the way that you do that is through storytelling. And I have a storytelling formula that I use. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to tell you guys any stories tonight or today or this morning where you guys are at. But every time I speak, I save my best hallmark story for last. But right before that, I say, now that I've given you a 60 or 90-minute talk, can I share with you a quick 30 to 60-second overview of what I do? And I would say, 100% of my speaking engagements comes by way of referrals only. So if you know any organization that could benefit, comes in, give me a business card afterwards. Number two, I'm not a publisher, I'm a publishing coach. And by that, I would be honored and thrilled to earn your referral. If you know anybody that wants to write and publish a book, please contact me. So I think Joanne Holbrook, I know Joanne Holbrook is a referral from Karen Emmenheiser in Honolulu, and Karen Emmenheiser is a referral from somewhere else. And you know what? It's probably 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 referrals removed. So I want you to remember this, write down this, that the challenge that we have in business and in life is that early in our life, we're brainwashed to believe that we need to know how we're going to achieve that dream, that goal, that vision. And I'm here today to tell you that you don't need to know the how. All you need to do is taste your vision, touch your vision, smell your vision, emotionalize your vision, and own your vision. And once you learn to own your visions, the how slowly presents itself over time. And so I guess Joanne came to me because I tried to provide value to the world, and somebody referred me, and somebody referred me, and it continued on. So just know that the next time your subconscious mind says, how am I going to do this? You say, it doesn't matter. I don't need to know the how. All I need to do is taste, touch, feel, smell, own an emotional vision. And once you do that, you become an unstoppable force of power, fully capable of achieving your destiny.
I love it. So where are you speaking next, and how can we find you at that speaking gig? Because I'm guessing it's online.
I tell you what, that I had about 18 engagements all over the U.S. Before the whole drama of 2020 happened, and it was all postponed or canceled. And so as of right now, I don't know if the speaking business is going to come back until probably 2021. But as long as we're talking about the politics of the crap that's going on in the world, let me throw my 2 cents out to the world. Every single one of us, we have a choice. And we can choose to become the victor or choose to become the victim. And unfortunately, all those people in our country, in my belief, that are burning down buildings and protesting and taking violence against others, at some point earlier in their career, they made a choice. And that choice or that decision was that they were going to go down the path of being a victim. And then 90 some odd percent, or the vast majority of the other people that are law-abiding citizens, we made a choice that no matter the adversity, the trauma, the drama, that we're going to choose to be a victor. So every circumstance, every adversity, every curveball that's thrown at you, ask yourself the question, am I going to roll over and give up and be the victim? Or am I going to take charge and say, you know what? Doesn't matter. You know what? I can get through this. Where there's a will, there's a way. And I think that's what we need to understand, is when we take the victor role in our life, then we become unstoppable.
Thank you. It reminds me, Grant Cardone, he has a chapter in one of his books about victimhood. And he said, would you send your children to a course that teaches them how to be a victim? And would you get that written on your business card? Mortgage broker, part-time victim, or financial planner, part-time victim, And if the answer is no, then you should probably not play that card.
I don't know what it's like in Australia, but in the United States, the media has just taken over, and I believe that media stands for make everything dramatic to increase audiences. And I believe that our media has done a very, very good job convincing Americans and people all over the world that they can't make it on their own, that they need to turn to government. And the reality of it is, if it's to be, it's up to me. There's always a way. But unfortunately, you know, everybody's soul is different. So I look at the protesters, I walk a mile in their shoes, and I understand their pain. I look at the other people on the other side, I walk a mile in their shoes, and I feel their pain. And so all I can do is love them both and have love and compassion and empathy for both sides. And I choose to completely stay away from politics because I just don't want to go there. And I have a degree in political science, and I can't stand that subject matter.
All right. Thanks, Patrick. God, we could just go on forever. All right. Thank you so much. So much. So we must move on. It was great having you with us, Patrick. Okay.